The concept of game management through hunting is difficult to explain to someone who's never done it. It's more than just picking up a rifle and killing something. In my book, that's about 10% of the experience. We as hunters remember only a handful of shots we ever take in the field. The rest of the hunt, in this case, is more about being in the Great Kalahari, with family and friends, far from the busy suburban life and out of cell phone range, which is a blessing. Arriving on the farm, it was about -2 degrees Celsius, which is normal for this part of the world. In the Kalahari, it can reach minimum temperatures well below freezing in winter. At our campsite, the youngster among us was eager to do some target practice before we started setting up our camp.
How's hy? Shot so, drienery mooi.
Almost completely isolated, we, as family and friends, set up camp on the red sands of the Kalahari. We had fresh water supplied, but the rest of the camping equipment was up to us to set up and use for the next 4 days. After a quick lunch, we took the time to make sure that the rifles were sighted in. And with all the necessary corrections made, we were ready to head out to see what we can find. The first animal we shot was a healthy oryx bull that was standing broadside. Unfortunately, I didn't have any footage for this. The shot landed on the shoulder and it expired very quickly. The workers on the farm go to work immediately and they remove the animal's intestines to keep the meat from spoiling and to make it easier for us to load on the vehicle. From here, the animal is taken away to the butchery where the meat processing can begin. We take the opportunity to walk back on the blood trail to see if we can determine where the animal was the moment it was shot. We grew up hunting in the bushveld, where it's very different. In the bushveld, we walk and stalk animals in terrain with limited visibility, with tall grass and thick brush. Blood trail is all you've got to track the animal. Experienced trackers can tell a lot by looking at blood trail, like where the animal was hit and how fast the animal was moving. We only get to do this once a year, so we make the opportunity count. It's important to note that both male and female springbuck have horns. The male will have a heavier body and thicker horns than the female, and we must be careful to pick the correct animal. The owner of the property is always with us, and he helps us to identify the correct males and sometimes females to harvest, depending on the age and condition of the animal. Game management is part of everyday life on this property, as the game animals are always in competition with livestock for food. On farms like these, the main source of income is the raising and breeding of domestic sheep. This area has been going through a 7-year drought, which makes it even harder for the sheep to compete with game animals. Hunting is also a part of their property's income in the winter season. The revenue generated through hunting is used to buy feed and medicine for livestock, paying monthly wages, and anything else that is needed on the farm. I filmed all the footage using a camera that's mounted on a telescope. This way I can film and shoot at the same time. In this next shot, I was filming and my brother, who was standing next to me, was shooting.
Stop. Ja, Tom. Ja, dat gaat hij.
And yes, we did miss here and there on this trip. And on this shot, it was completely my fault, as I pulled the shot high and to the right.
Great. Ja.
This group of oryx moved back over the dune that we just crossed, and we decided to get off the vehicle and take a shot from a prone position. The bull was well over 300 meters away from us, but the shot was well placed and the bull went down not far from where it was hit. Luckily, I pressed record just in time to capture the shot. Right, pa.
Maar reg?
Jong.
Een aan die rechterkant.
Stop. Gooi, Sarah, gooi. Shot.
En zij?
Ik het ook maar niet, maar ook in leven.
Hij gaat uitbreken op trek. Ah, zij om.
As mentioned before, a part of game management is to harvest animals that are losing condition. In this case, the farmer asked us to shoot a young oryx bull that was injured. At first, we were concerned that the animal was hit by a stray bullet, but the farmer assured us that the animal has been injured before the hunting season began.
Shot, pa.
Yes. Mooi uitpak. Mooi. Mooi.
Dus hij met die Sierra
Dus hij daar, ja, pa. Ja.
The last shots of the trip were taken off camera. It was a magnificent 42-inch oryx bull, which for us will only happen once in a lifetime, especially because me and my dad worked together to get it done. It's moments like these that will stay with you forever, and I'll remember this day as one of the best experiences I've ever had. And every night the rifles were packed away and guitars came out. For me, nighttime in the camp is the best time. When the fire's burning, cold drinks all around, and everyone reflects on the day's events. And we share stories, and we tell jokes. We prepare food and we sing songs. But at some point, when everybody has had enough to eat and conversation turns silent, you realize how incredible the day was and what an absolute privilege it was to be there in that moment. Your thoughts turn toward home and you begin to appreciate the little things, like a warm bed, light when you flip a switch, warm water when you open a tap. It's impossible to leave this place without becoming a little more grateful for the things we take for granted every day.
Voilà.